Hi, so I'm going to start to talk about something that I'm working on actually for the last 6 years. So it's a game that I'm playing for, well, actually against my own will. I just cannot stop thinking about it. It's actually pissing off my wife quite a big time. So basically the game is how to find a quantum state machine. I call it a quantum state machine. The goal is to find a simple set of rules that create an automaton that will represent what's going on with the quantum particle and the general relativity. So there is some nice paper, one which is a quantum cellular automaton, which is the first 3D, so I don't know if you know the Damien game of life, the first 3D automaton, and so it's doing all kind of things, but I don't like it too much, for one main reason is that the blocks are very close. So this is the basic game of life. If you have 3, you become alive, and after you become dead because you are overcrowded. All this kind of simple game. And here, so they are analyzing what happened if you put some quantum behavior on the dots. So if, like the Schrödinger cat, you have a dot that is maybe green, maybe on, maybe off, and things like that. The main one that I really like is Stefan Wolfram. He has a great TED talk about it, which is called Computing the Theory of Everything. So he's basically playing with one of the first things that I was playing with also, which is how to do a graph transformation. So whenever you have a graph and basic quantum graph transformation, what kind of rules about graph transformation will generate some kind of universe that represent a little bit what's going on in the real world. So he finds some good one which represent general relativity quite good without electromagnetism and Maxwell and so on. And so I played this game for almost 4 years, but basically they didn't go much. Exactly like Wolfram Alpha, it's either explode, you have an universe that completely explodes, which is quite fun to see. So the basic rule of why we think that, why all the scientists think that there should be an automaton that represents the universe and the universe in which we live, is because there is two things that we know. And well, actually the main thing and the only thing that we know is nothing. But so let's start with something that we think we know, is first causality. If you drop causality, basically everything is a load and you don't have any logic, so you can do whatever you want. And quanta, it's at the low level, everything is an integer. So everything has one value, and so basically in terms of space and time, there is a smallest time that you cannot reduce, and in terms of space, there is a space where you are here, and after you are there, and there is nothing in the middle. So basically, once you say quanta, causality and quanta, if there is something that happened here that generates something else that happened there, it needs to happen after, okay? Because you need to have causality. So, and it needs to happen after in an integer amount of time. Okay, so once you postulate this as a basic concept of physics, basically you get the automaton and you get the things. So what did I do? I played a lot with the network and phones. It's from Loop Quantum Gravity. I told you, I think, in one of the previous talks about the space represented as grain of sand. I use the concept also of small networks. Once you have a network, everything is related to what is around it, but it can be related to something that is very far away also. So it creates a small, what is called a small network, by breaking a very small amount of movements. And basically the main issue is that I didn't manage to solve is this, it's the energy of a photon. There is a basic issue with the photon, is that the bigger it is, the less energetic it is. The smaller it is, the more energetic it is. And if you think about an automaton, when you have elements that reproduce each other, one close to another, if you want to build something very, very big, you need a lot of points, you need a lot of Damian-Conway games. So the energy, if you represent the energy with the Damian-Conway, you cannot go. So basically, 2 years ago, stupido. And so I read this book, and it gave me the idea about sync. And so this is where I am now. Is basically the idea of the game is to synchronize and to have an event, and an event happen only if you synchronize with the other events on the other side. And I'm just going to finish. If you have 1 second. Here, so it's the software that is generating the. So here it's about I put 20 photons here in the middle. So they are all interacting together, and so it's by the rule of the games. And now they are spreading. The problem here is that they are all polarized and they go all of them in the same way, but basically it's the game of life. They are spread. Thank you.